Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started. So my name is Scott Bradley. I'm the director of your Thunder Bay Historical Museum Society. Thank you for all of those joining us on Zoom. I would like to begin tonight by acknowledging the original custodians of this land and paying our respects to the elders, past, present, and future, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture, and the hopes of Indigenous peoples. We also recognize that we are meeting on the traditional land of Fort William First Nation, signatory to the Robinson Superior Treaty of 1850, and to acknowledge the role of the Métis settlement in the development of our community. A bit of housekeeping: if you are new to or haven't been to the museum in a while, there is a restroom just outside the door here on the right side. There's also additional facilities down on the second floor. This lecture will be recorded tonight, and so for those joining us online, we cannot see you or hear you. If you have any electronic devices or boom boxes or CD players or anything, just turn those off right now. There are refreshments available. Feel free to grab those at any time. And there will be some time at the end of tonight's presentation for some questions and answers. And Elder Mene Chakabi has also left some business cards over by the refreshments and at the back table. She does some beautiful artwork, so if you want to grab those business cards as well, that'd be great. Tonight's lecture is sponsored by Lakehead University's Department of History, so we appreciate them and their longtime support of this lecture series. I would also like to recognize some distinguished guests. Tonight is Thunder Bay Historical Museum Society Board Secretary and Volunteer of the Year, Dale Willis, joining us. And usually this list is longer, so if you think you are a distinguished guest tonight, please raise your hand. No one? Okay, all right. Our speaker tonight is Elder Mene Chakabi. As a child, Chakabi learned spiritual and cultural traditions from her beloved Cree grandmother and trapping and hunting and bush survival skills from her Ojibwa stepfather. She developed warm friendships with some other children, but also suffered physical and sexual abuse by different adults. In her teen years, Chakabi became an alcoholic herself, and at 20, she moved to Thunder Bay with her children to escape a violent husband. Abuse compounded by racism continued, but Chakabi found supports to help herself and others. Over the following decades, she achieved sobriety, trained and worked as an alcoholism counselor, raised her children, and fostered many others, learned to live with visual impairment, and came out as a lesbian. In 2014, Chakabi helped lead the first gay pride parade in Thunder Bay. So without further ado, please welcome Elder Mene Chakabi.
I guess I can put this thing down. Bonjour. You can hear me?
No, a little bit louder.
Very loud.
Okay. Bonjour. Oh, keep on? Must be my voice. I always say my manly voice. Bonjour, Nichiwik, Manishikaba Indigenous, Anamiki Wikerding Dunjiba, Wanamiki Kwegab Muset Indigenous in my Indian name. Migrich, Denandam, Giandamushek, Chigagi Gutian, Nongumgagi Jagak, Kanyu Nakshik. Pinganimanandam, Chigagi Gutian Manungum. Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting and going to listen to me talk. My Indian name is Thunderflight. I name it after my kayak. That's my kayak's name too. I didn't want to name my kids that way, but I wanted to name my first kid in the world as my kayak. I go flying around with it on the lake. But anyway, that's I am proud to be who I am today. I am an elder. I'm also a grandmother. I'm also a woman. I'm also a two-spirit person. I'm everything today who I am. I do anything. I help people. And that's my kind of work my passion is with young people and youth. I like working with them. I like them to learn something from me, what my grandmother taught me. And I pass it on to the young people. Now, my grandmother was 109 when she left this universe. And she taught me many, many things. And she tried to raise me in her late 90s when I was born, somewhere around there. And she had someone help me to grow up in the 90s, I guess. And she was too old. She was blind right from when she was in her early 20s, she said, or late 20s. She became blind, and I have her disease, so she gave it to me. I don't think I will go totally blind, but sometimes I wonder because sometimes I can't see. So my eyes is getting worse, I know that. And I'm okay with it. So I'm here today to speak to you guys about Thunder Bay and my work and about with the youth. I really, really love working with young people and the youth. I want them to learn as much as they can. I want to teach them as much as I can about what life is like in this Thunder Bay area, because this is where they live, and what it was like for me growing up in the bush. I was born in Thunder Bay. I was made in Thunder Bay. I went home when I was about 2.5 years old. My grandmother heard that I was being adopted, so she came and got me. But she didn't know that I was being born. My real mother didn't tell her, so. But now, my grandmother taught me many things about hunting, respecting animals, to make sure that if I'm going to hunt, I have to use all of the animal, no waste, which I did. I didn't waste anything. I used everything that I was taught. I went hunting with my stepfather. He taught me how to hunt. I know I'm a good hunter. I don't kill anything for nothing unless I'm going to eat it. Right now, I don't go hunting. Even when people are going, I don't bother because there's food in my house. If I'm going to starve, then I'll go hunting. If Thunder Bay is saying that we're starving, well, then I'll go in the bush and look for food. That's what I would do. Move back in the bush where I was raised. Other than that, I'm happy that I live in Thunder Bay, because every time I go to big cities or a different city, it's really not my cup of tea. Makes me want to come home right away. And so, but right now I'm working with young people. What we do, one of my jobs, what I do right now is we do night work. Now that fall is here and winter's on its way, I work with the young people who wants to learn about working with homeless and people that are stranded out on the street at nighttime. We go out in cars. Sometimes there's 4 cars, 3 people in each car. We go out to all over the community in the city, Fort William, Port Arthur, wherever we can find people. We drive around. We start around 10 o'clock and we go around. Sometimes we start later, so we can go later on a weekend night. That's when there's more activities happening. So the young people I work with are very nice young people, and they want to learn. So I teach them about love and respect. I don't talk about anything else other than love. I said, when we go out at night, we have to love people. If you don't love yourself, then maybe you're in the wrong place, I tell them. Maybe you're not ready to be out here. I want you guys to be in good shape, to already love yourself and work with people, because when we work with people, we have to love them and show them that who we are, what we are. And that's what I do with my teaching with the young people. And they like it, and they do a good job. They work with people. Sometimes we have sandwiches and water. We go around, give it to the homeless people or just people in general. Sometimes we see things that we might not like, you know. So, and I don't know, I don't want to say too much about the things that I don't like working with in the city because I'm on the media. And I just want to say I like working with people, the homeless people and the stranded people and people that don't have any place to go, or especially in the winter. Like, it really bothered me that young 14-year-old died within minutes away from the homeless shelter. We really need homeless shelter for people, not just older people and not just for men, women too. We need a place for women to go, young women, young men, to go and sleep at night. I had this dream that if we had a big building, in the wintertime we could store a lot of people, would heat it. You know, the city heats up a lot of places that's not open anymore. Why can't we use those kind of things? Why do people have to die for us to realize that, oh yeah, we should have done something? That's what I say to myself when I work with people. And, you know, I don't like what I see sometimes. Yes, I know some people say it's their fault. They start drinking. I was an alcoholic and still am an alcoholic. I'm one drink away from a drink if I want to. I'm one drug away from a drug if I want a drug. And if I don't like what I see, I'll go take a drug. But I don't want to do that because I have this job. I have to look out for people on the street. Young people need to learn. Somebody has to be there to help them to go through that. So I always tell my young people, you gotta love yourself first. It took me 23 days to love myself, really love myself, and really accept myself. We made this one of my art that's 23 days to love yourself. It's online now. You can look for it somewhere. It's going business, and I'm also doing this, making t-shirts and hoodies and running shoes, and you know, all in different art that I create. And I do it because I want people to know that if you love yourself, you can show yourself your work. You gotta love yourself in order to do things. Not to hurt anybody, not to judge anybody because they're different. And my grandmother taught me that when I was growing up. It didn't matter, she said, way back long time ago when I was little, she said, I was born in Saskatchewan on the other side before it became USA. She was on the other side. And she said she got adopted, was sent back with the family, and they took her, and she was raised in this side of Quebec, Ontario side. And then she was raised in Adwabascut River, James Bay coast first, and then come down to Adwabascut River on the corner there, and then moved all the way down, and then next thing you know, she was in Umbabaka. They traveled, these old people that time. Well, they were young then. So she got adopted out, and she was raised by these people. And she married this man named William Charles Shikabe. He was part French and Ojibwe, and she was Cree. So I'm Cree. My blood is Cree, but my grandfather's blood is somewhere up there too. I don't know where, but somewhere. Maybe in my brain. But anyway, so I never met my grandfather. I just met my grandmother. She looked after me and taught me how it was when she came to our Anishinaabe land, she calls it. That's the land that we live in right now. She told me, you don't have to call it Canada. They named that because they moved in on us, she said. We didn't know all the things that was going to happen, she said. And don't be ashamed of it, and you don't have to hate them. You don't have to hate anybody. It's all about love, she said. We were living here, she said, and people came, and a few people came. We nursed them to health. Next thing you know, thousands came, she said. And all we did was just accept the things that the way they were and the way we were. We tried to teach them about love and respect. They brought more alcohol, got all the Anishinaabe drinking. She said all that happened. So if you hear anything in the books, listen to what I'm telling you, and you keep that, and always remember to love, no matter what happens. Because other stuff, hating people or getting angry and resentful, she said, that's not going to get you anywhere. And I believe that, totally. Respecting myself, then other people will respect me. So that's what I teach about the kids. I teach them about love and respect. And I tell them some stories, boo stories, like, you know, not real stories like to scare them or anything, but it's just teaching stories, you know, over bonfire sometimes. And I work with them, and they'll ask questions, and then sometimes I will tell them the truth, you know, like, not sometimes, but I do tell them the truth where I come from. And where they come from now is different than what I was born with. So they kind of know that, these young people. I work with a lot of young people, and I love them all, and if I could put everybody in my pocket, I would carry them around here, keep them safe. But there's only one of me, so my pocket is not big enough for all of them. Just emotionally in the mind, I try to keep them, pray for them. Now, Thunder Bay, when I came here first time, I got introduced to the bar. That was a place I went to. And somebody told me, well, one of my mother's best friend told me, you're going to go to that bar, you know what's going to happen? The devil lives there, I was told, she said. And I said, who told you that? She said, oh, that priest. Well, you know, priests don't know anything, I said. They only believe in what they think that we should be. You should believe what my kukum said. I said, my kukum told me to love everybody no matter who they are. Whether, even if I go in somewhere where there's danger, she said I had to learn how to walk and be gentle with myself. That's what I was telling her. And you have to be gentle with yourself, I told her that. Then other people will like you, I told her. You don't have to be scared. There's a place for people that wants to drink alcohol, and they're respecting themselves by not getting drunk. They just have a few drinks, they go home. It's like having a cup of coffee at the coffee bar. What's the difference? Those are the kind of people that you should be chasing, I said. Don't chase the ones that are going the other way. I did that. I said, I made a big mistake, I told her. But that's what happened. I was young when I moved here, and the first thing that I noticed was those hotels. And first thing I learned was how to play pool and shuffleboard. I was really good with shuffleboard. Pool, I didn't like it because I couldn't tell where the ball was going and what it was doing, and I didn't quite understand at that time. I just hit every one of them, I thought. Got everybody to kick me out of the pool game. So I played with shuffleboard, and I became really good at it. I had 2 beers, I was perfect shuffleboard player, and I could beat everybody. I did really good job. I made my drinks that way. That's how I got free drinks. I didn't have to spend any money. But then they didn't look after me after. I had to look after myself. Sometimes I got picked up by policemen, and they weren't very nice either. One time a policeman chased me. I'm going to tell you that funny story. I was drinking, and then I was walking out, and a policeman stopped and says, "Hey, you, what are you doing on the streets?" "I'm going home." I said, "Get in a car." And I said, "No, I'm not." "Get in a car." And I said, "No, I'm going home." And then they stopped, and one guy was going to get. I ran as fast as I can, and that was on Miles and May. And you know that waterfront there? That's on Miles and May. And there's a tree that's kind of hanging out like that on one corner. I ran and I ducked my head, and I ran as fast as I can. Ran around that water place, and I looked. That guy, the one that was chasing me, he thought he was going to bend over, but he didn't. He got caught in his own, that tree caught him. He went backwards and was lying on the ground. The other guy said, "I'll catch her this way." And then I hid in those people's homes, like they have a home in their home there, and there's a big brush. Everybody cuts up brushes. I jumped in the brush pile and hid there. They were running. I could see their feet. I tried not to bleed, and they're gone. And then I came out after. I had lots of scratches all over me because I jumped in that bush. And I walked back home, and I said, "Holy, I almost died." I was thinking, they almost caught me. I didn't want to go to jail that night. Well, I didn't know what they were going to do with me, so I was scared of them. I was scared of them because they did something to me already once before, and that's why I was afraid of police. And it was bad. So sometimes there's not very good police people. They're not good with humans sometimes. And so I don't trust them. I never will, because of what happened. But now I tell my youth when I work with them, people not to trust the police, because they're not going to be helpful to you. I tell them, I don't know if there's any nice policeman around. I've never met anyone yet that is really nice. I'm sorry to say this, because they're supposed to look, I understand they're supposed to look after us people, the humans, but I think they take turns looking after certain people. That's what I felt. Maybe because I wasn't who they thought I was. I don't know. So living in Thunder Bay, that was my dark side of Thunder Bay. And then I came into the light side of my life. Somebody found this program for me called Alcoholics Anonymous. So I joined the program in 1975, and I've been sober ever since. But I don't go to meetings anymore because I really got tired of listening to same topics every night, and I wanted to grow. I wanted to expand my mind and my life to start thinking for me. And I knew my Great Spirit is in my heart, and she sits here and here, looks after me in my mind and takes really good care of me, gives me my thoughts, what to think, what to say. So I believe in that very much. There's not one person that can convince me there's no Great Spirit, because there is. People sometimes call that person God. I know it's not a person, but religion calls them God. I don't go to church because lots of memories happen there. I don't trust the priests. I don't trust the nuns. I still don't, no matter how old I will be. I don't think I will ever trust them and forgive them. I did forgive them. I did write letters when I sobered up. I wrote all my, my anger letters to them. I wrote it all to the people, to the churches, Catholic Church, Protestant Church, and all the priests that I remember, and all the nuns that I knew. I wrote a letter to them all. Some of them I couldn't, they came back. I burned them after, because I know they made a trip, and I know I was able to forgive them and forgive myself. So that's how I hung on with my life. In the program, I stayed with them for a while, and then eventually I started looking after me and started doing things and really believing that my Great Spirit is looking after me 24 hours a day. That's what it was like for me. Anybody knows the time? I don't want to... Oh.
8 o'clock.
How long?
8 o'clock.
And I mean, how long? 1 hour? Half an hour? What?
If you want to go another 15, 20 minutes, that's fine.
Okay, I go over. I'll go over 8 o'clock. Anyway, so that's what I did. So now I'm in Thunder Bay working with the young people. We go all over the place. And my young people and I, we call each other Debwe Mwinbe Mosewin. That is called Debwe Mwinbe Mosewin is walking the truth. That's what we do. I teach them that. And we do things like that. And for other things, what I do, I go to Toronto, I go other places wherever people call me to speak. I'm all over the place. There's times where I just say, no, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm retiring. I've retired already from my 65. I'm still working. I think I work more than I ever did when I was working. That's what I often say. I think when I hear people says, "Oh, I'm going to retire." Oh yeah, right. Tell me later after you retire, because you tend to work more when you're retired. You know, you do more things, but then for me, I do it because I want to do it. When people ask me, sometimes I'll say, no, I don't want to do it. I'm busy. That's what I'll tell them. And sometimes I feel bad when I say no. And I'm thinking, oh, my job is to help people. That's what I always say to myself. But then other times I say, it's okay, Minnie. You're tired tonight. You don't have to do everything. You can't fix anything anyways. I tell myself that. Yeah. So the things that we do sometimes, what I see and what I do at nighttime with my people is sometimes it's very hard stuff we see and hard things people go through. And that's living in Thunder Bay. And what I see sometimes in Thunder Bay is really hard place. Like, we're making a movie of Thunder Bay right now with my friends. We're doing something about Thunder Bay. I showed them where I've been, what I've done, all over the place in this Thunder Bay. Because I walk everywhere. I don't drive. Even when I first sobered up, I never drove. But I did get my license, and I didn't get it in Thunder Bay, I got it in Winnipeg. I learned everything in Thunder Bay, and then I got my license in Winnipeg. And I took the license because my job expected me to do that. I was working for Child and Family Services in Winnipeg, so I had to go get my license. I didn't really want to. I didn't care about driving, you know. And I lived in Winnipeg for a while. I did the same thing I've been doing here. I work with people, try to do what I can. But it is hard work sometimes when you see something that you can't do nothing about it. And sometimes it makes you cry at night when I think about that, and what could I have done with them, or what could I have done to save that person, you know. And somebody told me once that I have a big heart, and sometimes I talk to my heart and say, why don't you shrink a little bit here? You know, I tell myself that because you're getting old now. I'm in my 70s now. I'm getting old. It's not really old. For me, it's old because when I get tired, I'm still going though. You know, I don't want to stop. One of the things I'm afraid of is to stop working with people. And I feel scared that I might lose them. I might not be able to have any more contacts with people. That's what I get afraid of when I say to myself, am I going to retire from retiring? When is that going to happen? I had a kidney transplant too, not 2 years ago, just a few weeks ago. It came 2 years ago, and my kidney right now is doing really great. I'm like an 8-year-old, they said. I'm still like that. I can run around. And I believe that because I feel that way. I got so much energy. You know, I am so grateful for this person, Michelle DeRosier. She is the one that came and saved my life. I was on my last stages of my old kidney. I was on 7, I think, 7 or 5. Anyway, I was very tired. I asked the nurse, what happens? Am I going to be in pain? She said, no, you're just going to go to sleep. You're going to be tired all the time. And I felt that. 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at lunch hour, I was so tired and exhausted that I just went to sleep. And I thought, okay, if I don't wake up today, it's done. I'm done. And then I woke up, I said, oh, I got to make my will. I got to do something about my art. People are just going to grab it and sell it, and I've seen that happen in funerals. I've seen it in my community. Well, that's where I came from, so I've seen them people, what they do when somebody dies, and they just grab their stuff and say, I want this, I want that. They're like, you know, it's like a crow sitting here watching everybody with food down there. That's what it looks like to me when I see somebody dies. Everybody wants something from that person. And I said to myself, well, I'm gonna have to do something about the will. I'm gonna have to make my will because I'm an artist and I don't want my art to go to somebody just to sell it for fun of it, to make money and to drink it away or drug it away or whatever. That's what I was thinking about. So I don't talk about my family very much because I don't really have any family to talk about. I have a daughter and a son and another daughter and maybe another daughter that I might adopt. So I adopted Maya. Her name is Maya. She's really wonderful young woman who looks after things sometimes for me or just helps people. She works really hard. And her sister, I had a weekend with them. It was such a good thing for me to do with these young girls, working with them. And we went to Toronto and Niagara Falls. We did, the 3 of us did the conference, and it was really wonderful. And I have another daughter, and my birth daughter is living in Thunder Bay, and my birth son is living in Thunder Bay. All of them are in Thunder Bay now, so when I think about it, yeah, the other girls I adopted just arrived here, so now living, so my little family. But I don't have a mom or a dad or anybody. I'm the only one left from Umbabika, except my cousin who lives in Ignish, and my other cousins' kids. I had lots of cousins, but they all died, and they had kids, but I don't know all of their kids, where they are or what they grew, if they grown up or not. I don't know any of that family. But my own siblings, I didn't have any. I had a stepsister. She's gone. She left. I had a stepfather. He's gone. So, and I'm a two-spirit person. I had a partner for 13 years. Now we're the best friends forever. We didn't want to leave and not talk to each other. I couldn't stand that because that's not who I am. You know, just because we fell in love doesn't mean we have to quit loving each other. I believe in working together. When you split up with somebody, you should learn to work together. That's called respect. To me, it is respect. When you respect your ex-partner and not make that person a villain or something. It was never like that. I had two beautiful partners for a little while. My first one was who helped me write the book, A Two-Spirit Journey. She was my first love as a two-spirit person for me, and she was a lesbian. So we had a good life for that moment of time. And then I came back home because I couldn't live in America. I couldn't do it to myself to live over there and not be in Canada, or not even Canada, but in my country. And so I thought maybe I'll just go home. I won't follow her around. So we did good. We're still communicating. We're still helping each other out. And then my other partner, who is on her journey right now, she's on a big journey. She's somewhere journeying on St. Lawrence River or something. I don't know. She's on a boat somewhere, cargo boat. And she's on a sea. And she lives out in the country in Kaministiquia. We're still very good friends. She just finished helping me build the sweat lodge, top of the sweat lodge. My sweat lodge is going to be inside, so I can sweat in the winter all year round, 24 hours, if I want to. So that's, and the sweat lodge it's going to be a healing sweat lodge, healing work. And if anybody wants to do healing work, they can come and see me. And we're not going to open that this winter until springtime, because we have few more things to do around the land, and I have things I need to do with the tobacco and all that other stuff and medicines. I need to gather up lots of medicines for that lodge. And it's going to be a beautiful lodge. It's going to be a two-spirit lodge. But other people that are not two-spirit are welcome to come and sit with me in my lodge if they want. That'll be great. I work with anybody. You don't have to be two-spirit. My grandmother told me I was two-spirit when I was 4 years old. And every year she told me that. You're two-spirit. Oh, I was so happy. I didn't even know what that meant. Then one day when I was 16 and she was dying, I asked her, what is two-spirit? And she said, oh, yin, nijajajak yin. You have two spirits. You're a male and a female. And I said, I don't have that other side. And she said, well, that's okay. It's inside of you. You don't have to have anything. She said, you could just be born that way, she said. And I didn't understand what that meant for a while growing up. I think I knew when I was 9 years old because something happened. My best friend and he was a boy. I don't know, he's probably still alive, but he said, since you're a boy, you're always like a boy. You don't even act like a girl. And I said, I am. I said, and then he says, well, I got to go to the bathroom, he says. And I thought, oh, maybe now I can go to the bathroom like he does. That was my big mistake. I don't know, I think I was about 8 years old or 7 years old, somewhere around there. So he's standing peeing, and I'm thinking, I'm going to go over there and stand and then all of a sudden all my pee went down there, and that was it. And I thought, oh, I made a mistake. Because I didn't see him the rest of the thing he was doing. So if I would have saw that, I would have probably not tried it. Whenever he was digging around in his pants there, I didn't see that part, so I thought, oh. And then he says, oh, you're a girl, you shouldn't have done that. well, everybody says I'm a boy. How come? It's so confusing. And then he says, well, you know, those old people, they don't know everything. We know lots. They don't, he says. And I said, okay, I'm going to go talk to my grandmother now. So I went home and talked to my grandmother, and she just laughed. And she said, I should have explained more, she said. I should have told you it was inside of you, not all over your body. So that's one of the stories, and I'm sticking to that. So does anybody have any questions? For anything? For now or for what?
You spoke about your work on the street and seeing difficult things. Where do you go to deal with your own trauma that you feel from witnessing this?
Where I live is a place called Good Shepherd Village. It's in a small retirement home. That's where I stay. People live there, look after themselves 24/7. Then when you can't look after yourself, you go somewhere else. But I'm there, and I really love it there because they don't bother you, they don't check up on you, they don't do anything with you. It's like your own private space. So my space, I go outside my front door on my side of there's a big main door. I don't ever use that hardly. But I use the side of my door, and that's where I smudge sometimes. I sit there outside, and I'll bring my smudge. I have 3 little cedar trees beside my door, and I talk to them all the time. And sometimes there's a church across from me. It's called Bethlehem or something. And there's a big tree there. I go put tobacco there. And then there's a big backyard where all the cars are parking. I go to this one tree that has a face. It looks like a face, and it has really black scarf or something, and it looks like it's got a face. So I go talk to her, put tobacco down there, chat with her. I've been trying to sneak those wires is right against her face, and I've been trying to pull it out a little bit at a time if I can. And I said, how can these people just build that wired fence against this tree? Because I'm all for trees. I'll fight for trees. I'm planning to do that next summer. I'm going to walk to Ottawa. I'm going to talk to somebody over there to do something about trees. Because, you know, I think Ontario is starting to look very naked these days. There isn't very many trees anywhere. Even when I went back home a few years ago to Umbabaka, where I was raised. Umbabaka is the Indian village, and on the across from the river, Umbabaka River, was the white community. Hudson Bay store was there, and station was there where people get on and off the train. That's what it was before. And so Nishnawbe was on this side, Wabashkiwa was on that side. So, yeah, that's what. So when I pray for that tree, that's why I'm, pray with the tree, and her face is there, and I always apologize every time I pray because, I feel like they're hurting her, putting fence right against her face. She's really beautiful. I like her. I don't know. Other people probably won't see it that way, but I do. Everything I look at is beautiful. So I don't. Yeah.
And what's your inspiration for your artwork?
Pardon?
What's your inspiration for your artwork?
Well, it comes at night. My inspiration sometimes wakes me up in the middle of the night. I'll have a vision. I'll wake up. I'll do a little sketch, put it in my room there, and then I'll do the art next next day or next week. I'll do the sketch, and then I'll leave the sketches there, and then I'll do the painting. Yeah?
So we have a question from online. Reagan asks, could you talk about the work you do when counseling youth?
Counseling?
Youth.
I don't counsel them, I listen to them. I'm more of a listener. I will give advice sometimes to tell them to love themselves and not to, I tell them anger is good, but resentful and hatred is not a good way to deal with something. And your best bet is to work with an elder if you see an elder, or call the elder, or there's a lot of elders. There's Lakehead University elders. There's about 10 elders that works with people over there. And then there's about 10 elders with the city of Thunder Bay. I'm one of them, but I'm both of them. I'm in with the city, and then I'm with the LU. And so, and then I hear there's college that has elders too, so they're everywhere. If you need to talk about something, your best bet is they won't tell you, I don't know, me, I never tell anybody what to do. I just listen to them. Maybe I will suggest something, who to go and see that will help them. Those are the kind of things I do, because I don't want to tell them something and then do it my way, and then, what if it doesn't work for them? That's what I think. Because my way is not always the way. Yes?
So we have another question from online. Reagan asks, could you talk about the process of leading the first Pride Parade in Thunder Bay?
Oh, I was going to talk about that. Actually, I'm not the first one leading the Pride. That was Rachel, and Rachel Mishinen was the first one to do it. I did it with her. We did it. I was sitting on the car, on top of the car. I don't know where Rachel was. But anyway, that was her gig. That was her thing to do. She was the first one. I don't want to say I am. Somebody just saw me in one of those things. I was in the front line. That's probably why everybody thinks I was the first one. But Rachel is the one that created that idea. The first time it didn't work. The second time it worked. We all had it at the Marina Park. One time we were going towards what's that place called, where Bay Credit Union lives, in that Algoma Street area. It wasn't, to me, it didn't really work out because it was small and squishy kind of place to have things done. The stores, or whatever people was trying to sell, it didn't work. But if you do it at the marina, it's a big wide open space. You can do it there, and that's where Rachel and I worked together on that. She did the most work, and she's a good worker, that woman. She does a lot of work like that in her own way. I don't even know what she's doing right now because she's always on the go. She's somewhere, someplace. And did you ask a question?
I was just wondering where your sweat lodge is going to be in Kaministiquia.
Oh, it's going to be in Kaministiquia. In the land that Betsy and I got when we were together. And so it's on that land there, not too far from the river. All we need to do is find some rocks now. I don't have a car, but I will throw help out there. I'll say, help, I need rocks, I need rocks about this big. I'm telling you now, just in case you see something. Start gathering them. Yeah, and having grandfather rocks and grandmother rocks is really, really good for the sweat. And me, the sweat I'm going to build is going to be more, maybe 4 people or 5 people, including me. I'll be the 5, maybe 4 I can work, or 6 at the most. But I don't want to build a big lodge. It gets too complicated when it gets bigger. I want to do it more small so everyone has time to talk to each other. That's what you got to look at. I'm looking at it that way because if I bring lots of people in for the sweat, other people might not be brave enough to say what they want to say sometimes. Being in a sweat is like going, when you go for a sauna, it's similar to that, except mine is the sweat lodge I'm going to do is going to be about very spiritual. I'm very spiritual inside and outside. But when I'm out in the community, I don't practice those things. I'm just me. But most of the time I am who I say I am. I'm very spiritual. I feel very spiritual. I feel really connected to my Great Spirit. I'm not afraid of anything. I knew when I was dying, I felt like I was leaving. And I felt like, well, this is the day that I probably won't wake up. So I was so sleepy and tired. And I heard this big knock on the window, in my bedroom window somewhere. And I went to look out. There was my friend there. She was thinking, oh, what are you doing here? I'm just coming to check up on you. I said, oh, I'm doing okay. I wasn't really all there then. And then I met Michelle. Then she gave me her kidney. And here I am today. I'm so grateful for this person. When she told me she was going to give me a kidney, I didn't really believe it. I mean, that night I went to sleep. I was doing a protest that time too when she told me that. That was my last protest. I said to myself, this is your last protest because you've been sleeping a lot lately and one day you're not going to wake up. And she'd come and join me and says, I hear you're not well. So I said to her, yeah, it's okay. I said, I'm fine with it. But I was scared. I'm not going to be able to see people again, normal people I see every day or every day of my life. And I prayed every day for myself that to accept the things the way it was going to happen. One day I wasn't going to wake up, and that's fine with me. Every night I went to sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I said, okay, I might not wake up. So I wanted to make sure everything was cleaned out in here. And I felt like if feather had feelings, that's what I felt like. When you do that to the feather, and it just goes, that's how I felt like. Just like I was a feather. And Manitou is my Great Spirit. That's what I call her, Manitou. And I really believe in that. There's nobody in this world can convince me there's no Manitou. I know they live inside of me and my heart and my shoulders and all over my body, mind, and soul. And if you don't believe it, try it. You might like it one day. It took me 23 days to love myself because now I love myself, and it's all because of my Great Spirit. That's why I say that. It doesn't matter what other people think of me now or before, or whatever. If they don't like me today, that's fine. I'm not going to cry over that. I really love all of you, and thank you very much for listening to me. Kitchimigwech, Nendam, Omanongum, Gabazindawishik, Chagagi Gatian, Nongum Gawanakshik. Kitchimigwech, midday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monet. It was really a pleasure to hear all your thoughts and your experience. So as we come to a close for this evening, do visit our gift shop on your way out and look for a copy of A Two-Spirit Journey down there as well. And look at our upcoming events calendar. Starting tomorrow, our Ageless Grace exercise program, it's a chair exercise program, starts, and that'll be once per week for the next 5 weeks. So there's still a chance to sign up for that. We have a book event for Follow the Tracks, an oral history of the Lake Superior Regiment during World War II. That event is happening on the 2nd of November. Also on the 2nd of November, back in this room, is a presentation on memoirs written by local members of the Historical Society. And then on the 24th of November is another scrapbooking session with Catherine Mockery back here at the museum. And then there'll be 2 presentations by Gerard Boyer on early French history of Thunder Bay from 1660 to 1759. And on the 24th of November, that will be in French, co-sponsored by the Club Culturel de Francophone. And then on the 26th, there will be the English version back in this room as well. So thank you to our sponsor, Lakehead University's Department of History, our corporate members, Thunder Bay Pulp and Paper, Equipment World, and Woodland Heritage Northwest. And of course, thank you to the museum staff in Zali at the front desk, Sarah Silvestri managing our technology and taking care of refreshments tonight. And we couldn't do this sort of event or run the museum without those fine folks. So do take advantage of our refreshments tonight and have a great rest of your night. And same to those joining us online. Thank you.